I'm sorry, guys. I really deeply apologize for turning up late. 5 minutes late. I'm really sorry. I scheduled a stream, and while it was almost time to start, I just had to quickly run one or two errands to tidy up before I start. Okay, so I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, now I'm here. Thank you, Danielle, for coming in. Even before I showed up, thank you so much for coming. So, welcome everybody. How you all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So, this topic came up yesterday towards the end of the live stream yesterday. I saw in the chat room some people were talking about it, and I asked if it was something people were interested in, and yeah, some of you indicated, those of you who were still on the stream indicated yes, that we should have this conversation today. So here I am. I'm here for you guys. Okay, so welcome. I'm the African storyteller. That's if you're coming by for the first time or you are rewatching. Okay, you're welcome. Give the video a thumb up, give the stream a thumb up, and share. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. Okay, do all those good things. Go on, let's share now. Okay, I'm carrying my phone. I'm also going to share. So go on now and share before we continue. That's the drill. Let's share, 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 share. Let's have more people in. Okay, because it's going to be a very interesting conversation. I always see this conversation, like this whole Akata thing, come up every now and then. When we have online fora like this, see, I'm copying to share. I've copied, I'm sharing now. So go on and share. Let's get more people in. Okay, I'm sharing on my WhatsApp status. So go on and do the same. Hi, precious Peter. Welcome. You see, that's my WhatsApp status. I've just shared it. I'm also sharing in groups that I am in. So share, share, share. We share on WhatsApp status, we share in WhatsApp groups, we share on Facebook groups, everywhere we are. We share, okay? See, I've shared on this group that I am in. So go on and share. We are doing this housekeeping now before we continue. So go on, do the same so that we start the conversation and we roll. Go on, go on and share. Hi Ryan, welcome. See, I've shared on another group. That's two groups now. I'm going to share on more groups. So go on, do the same as we do it. Let's do the housekeeping as usual, and then we start the conversation. Yes, so I've shared. Okay, so now we are good to go, good to go, good to go. Hi Ryan, how are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. um yeah, yesterday's conversation was very interesting. For those of you who missed the stream yesterday, you can do well to catch up by I'm typing. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, so for those of you who missed, you can go on and catch up after, okay? Not now, after, so that you know what we talked about yesterday. So just like a brief hint about what it was about the Miss South Africa beauty pageant that is going on, and some people have moved to remove a Nigerian South African who is also participating in the pageant on the grounds that she is not South African. So that was the conversation. Even though her father is Nigerian, her mom is a South African, and she was born and raised in South Africa and is a South African citizen. So that was the conversation we had. So after this stream, you can go on and catch up there, okay? Yeah. So while we were having that conversation, this topic came up. Some people, some of our African American brothers, who were on the stream also said, well, but Nigerians also discriminate against, African Americans and call African Americans Akata. And I was like, not again, not again. I've been saying it every now and then. So today I asked, should we do this chat? And people said, yes, let's do it. So that's what we are doing today. So yeah, Like many of you know already, Nigeria is a very diverse country. We are over 200 million people in Nigeria, and um, over 250 cultures and ethnic groups. Okay, and that tells us that there's a lot of diversity in Nigeria, in terms of culture and the people, in the languages we speak, and in our cultural expressions. We are very, very, very diverse, like the most diverse country on the continent, if I may say, right? So when you see narratives or you come across certain people who do things a certain way, I want to, encourage you guys to be careful not to generalize, because when you generalize, then it becomes a problem, and you err. Okay, so why am I giving this background? Nigeria, being a diverse country, has a lot of people and different languages and expressions. So the word Akata, for instance, is of Yoruba origin. Yoruba is one of the major ethnic groups in Nigeria. So we have Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Tiv, which I am. We have Efik, Ibibio. We have you know different, a lot of languages in Nigeria and cultures. So this particular Akata word is of Yoruba origin, and it actually means an undomesticated cat. Okay, an undomesticated cat. Yes, that's what it means. So when you hear Yoruba people say Akata, Akata actually means undomesticated cat, right? It's a word in Yoruba. Now, why is it coming to play in this conversation or in this context? Um, African Americans always accuse Nigerians and say, "Oh, Nigerians call us Akata," and we know the meaning. It means wild cat. Yes, you might have heard it. You might have been called Akata and all, but I'm saying not all Nigerians. No, the first time I heard that, I was like, what does that mean? I don't even know. That was the first time hearing it. Like about 2 or 3 years ago on YouTube on a live stream, I heard, I read it just like I read yesterday, where people were talking about Akata, the fact that Nigerians call them Akata. And I was like, no, I don't know that. This is the first time hearing that word. And it came off as though I was lying or being insincere, but that was my truth. And it was after that that I took time to ask and, find out what Akata meant. That was when I knew that Akata actually meant a wild cat. Where are you now? I'm in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, precisely. Yeah, so I asked her, and that was what I was told. Akata is wild cat. It means wild cat or undomesticated cat. We have domestic cats, we have wild cats. Thank you everyone for coming in. As you come in, give the stream a thumb up and definitely share. Okay, share it, share it, share it. Let's have more people coming. It's important that the people who really need to hear this conversation get it. So if you belong in groups where there are African Americans, definitely share this stream. Let them come in, okay? Is it true that all beaches in Lagos, Nigeria are private? Yes, it's true. The majority of them, like 95% of them, are private. Okay. Yeah, so and that's it. Back to the conversation. Like I said, share, okay. And I dropped my PayPal. I'm going to type it again. I don't know why I can't pin. Let me see. Okay. My PayPal is virtue grace blog at gmail.com. Yeah, so you can go on and support this stream, this conversation. Power me, power me, power me. Okay, you can send me some support on my PayPal. Super chat, super thanks, stickers, they are all appreciated. It helps me to keep bringing you oh, look at what I wrote. Instead of blog, I wrote, ooh, let me type that again. gmail.com. Virtuegraceblog at gmail.com. Yeah. So that's my PayPal. So you can send me support via PayPal, via super chats, super thanks, stickers, and all of that. It powers me to keep bringing you videos and live streams like this. As we speak now, I'm using my personal generator with fuel to power this conversation because there's no light. We've not had light for the past 3 months, okay? But we got the news today that they are going to power us by Friday. So fingers crossed we have that. So you see, it's a lot, but this is an important conversation that we need to have, especially if we are talking about promoting unity between continental African and Africans in the diaspora. It's very important. Someone says, I'm watching it from Rwanda. Oh, nice. I met you there. Heading today from Emmanuel. Yes, 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 yes. Hi. How are you doing? So good to see you. So I met this brother when I visited Rwanda, I think last year. Was it last year or last 2 years? I visited Rwanda and I was going from Kigali to Musanze. It's another city in Rwanda. So on the bus, I sat beside Emmanuel, and we got talking, and he subscribed to my channel. We exchange contacts, we keep in touch. Every once in a while, we chat on WhatsApp. So good to see you, Emmanuel. How is Rwanda today? How is everyone doing? Yeah. Okay. So back to the conversation we're having. So now, yesterday when the topic came up, I made a comment. I was like, if there's anyone that has a lot more, more context about the Akata thing, and especially it being seen as a derogatory term by African Americans, I would appreciate that context, because honestly, I don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and claim that I know everything. What I've said is what I know so far, as far as this is concerned. The fact that Akata is a Yoruba word that means a wild cat or undomesticated cat. Okay, so this Nigerian brother who happens to be Yoruba gave this context, and it's so long. See, this is the context he gave. So I was so grateful that he did that, and he said he was sharing it in comment because he wasn't going to be available for the stream today due to work commitment. He lives in the diaspora too. So I'm going to just read it, and then we take it from there. Anyone interested in joining me in this stream, in this conversation, go on and indicate. But wait until after I've read this. I'm going to drop the link so that anyone interested can join, and we'll have this conversation together, and we'll move forward from there. So he first said, great stream, referring to the stream of yesterday. Thanks for addressing. Okay, we're still talking about the stream of yesterday. Let's go on to what he said with regards to this conversation. He says, as a Yoruba man, I thought that I would share my understanding of the word with you to enable your upcoming show, which is this show now. I want to do this because of the misconceptions which largely exist in the African American community that often lead to offense whenever the word is used or heard. Okay? I will start by saying the words I will start by saying that words are part of language, and often the meanings of words evolve over time from their original meaning. For example, the word gay means something completely different to its original meaning. Likewise, the word Akata has evolved from its original meaning. The word was originally coined in the 1950s, during during which time in America, groups like the Black Panthers were a prominent positive movement of black civil empowerment. It was also common at that time as part of street slang to refer to one another in colloquial English as as to sorry, let me take that again. It was also common at the time as part of street slang to refer to one another in colloquial English as cats. That is, people would say, "You think you are such a cool cat, don't you?" As I'm sure you are aware, the word Akata is a Yoruba word which translates to mean an undomesticated cat which lives outside, like a panther. When the word Akata originally began to be used, it was not meant as a slur. It was simply meant to be a translation from English to Yoruba, the word cat. It was also intended to be a recognition of the fact that African Americans are people who lived abroad and not at home. Fact that African Americans are people who lived abroad and not at home. However, over the course of time, African Americans got wind of the word and asked what it meant. When it was explained that it meant an undomesticated cat that lives outside without any context, African Americans were rightfully offended because the meaning of the word was lost in translation. Simultaneously, African Americans had unflattering and offensive words to describe Africans, that is, an African booty scratcher. As a response to this, and knowing that the word Akata got under African Americans' skin, Africans of all ethnic background use the word Akata. No, that's where I'm going to pause before I continue. Not Africans of all ethnic backgrounds, because personally, like I said in the beginning, I only got to know about the word Akata on YouTube about 2 years ago when the conversation came up on a live stream somewhere. So you'll be wrong if you say Africans of all background use the word Akata. Let's continue. Um, um, okay. Um, as a response to this, and knowing that the word Akata got under African American skin, Africans of all backgrounds use the word Akata as a verbal comeback when arguing with African Americans. This is when the word Akata became a derogatory slur against African Americans. As a slur, the word means anything from a slave to a bastard. To this day, majority of African Americans and Africans do not know the history of the word and that the word Akata was not intended to be a slur. Due to work, okay, that's when he was saying he won't be available today. So you've just heard me read this long context from a Yoruba person who also lives in the diaspora and has experienced firsthand this conversation around Akata and the expression and the nuances around it. Like I said, I won't sit here and pretend like I know it. No, I do not. But based on this context, it stems back to the Black Panther movement, during the civil rights movement. Hold on. My phone is not charging. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, it's charging now. Okay, so based on that, he said, it was during the civil, black civil movement and everything. There were expressions that were used, such as, "Oh, so you think you're a cool cat, right?" Making reference to the Black Panther. And over time, African Americans got wind of the meaning of the word, which rightly means an undomesticated cat, or a cat that does not live at home. And it became offensive to them when they heard the word used, and it became like an offensive slur at targeted at African Americans. And because according to this context that he has given us, African Americans also had a derogatory word they used on African Americans, which is African body scratcher. So Africans also used the Akata, knowing that it was offensive to African Americans, as a comeback slur, and the banter and all of that. So that is the context behind the Akata word, but the word in itself is part of the Yoruba language, which was never intended in the first place to be a derogatory word or a slur at anyone. It just means an undomesticated cat or a cat that does not live at home. Okay, and I also understand because African Americans, Africans who were taken away and do not live on the continent. So I get why it seems offensive to them. But going by this explanation, this is what, according to him, it means. So I've dropped the link in the chat room. If anyone is interested in joining me, you can go on and click on the link. I'm going to add you to this conversation so we can proceed. Give the stream a thumb up, okay? Share it. If you've not subscribed, that's you're coming by for the first time. Go on and subscribe and share. Do all those good things, okay? And I'm also going to drop my PayPal email so that anyone who wants to support me to keep bringing streams and videos, you can do so. virtuegraceblog@gmail.com. Travel to Benin City to ask about that. To ask about what? About Akata or what? Someone says the movie Sugar Hill with Wesley Snipes had a scene where he was upset by the word. Oh, interesting. I've not seen the movie. So I've just given the context based on the experience of a Yoruba person who belongs to that ethnic group, to that culture from which the Akata word originates. And it means an undomesticated cat or a wild cat, a cat that lives outside, that does not live at home. Of course, we know that there are cats that live at home and some do not live at home. But he has given us the context to what really and how it came about becoming an offensive slur to African Americans. So that is the context. Anyone interested in joining the conversation, I've dropped the link in the chat room. Go on and click on it to join me. I'm going to add you to the conversation. Okay. Yes, I was about to say something. Um Something he said in the background he has given us to this conversation is the fact that Akata belongs to Yoruba language. It's a word in Yoruba. So when you hear it used, it does not necessarily mean a derogatory remark or a slur targeted at anyone. It's just a word. Just like you have food as a word in the English language, Akata is a word in the Yoruba language as well. So even when you hear it used somewhere, it does not necessarily mean it is being targeted at you. It might just be a word coming up in the conversation, as the case may be. Um, and he says, we used to call people who travel abroad that name. We have no idea what it means. So don't get mad at Nigeria because it means a different thing in Nigeria. Exactly. And it's just like Yoruba also has a name they give to, for instance, children who were born abroad and brought back to Nigeria. I think Tokumbo, they call them Tokumbo, like the child was born abroad and brought back home to Nigeria. They call them Tokumbo. It's a name. Okay, so um some people might say, okay, Tokumbo is offensive. They are saying, you know, this person, it means this person was not born at home or something. No, it's just a word. And the thing is that, especially with Africans, our naming practices are very, very thoughtful. They put thought into the names they give people. They take into cognizance the context, the circumstances, and the experiences that led to the birth of that person. And that's what sometimes they use to give someone names, or sometimes names are like prayers. Okay, a prayer for that child, for what should be the person's fate as they go through life. In Igbo language, for instance, they give someone a name like Ijeoma. Ijeoma means safe journey. Like when you use it on a normal day, it means safe journey. Okay? But when you give someone that name, Ijeoma, you are basically praying that that person would have a good life. As they journey through life, they are going to have a good life. They are going to have good experiences. Their life is going to be good. You see it now. So, in one context, you are saying safe journey, Ijeoma, when you are talking to someone who is going on a journey. But when someone bears that name, it means a prayer for the person to have a good life, okay? To have good experiences and have a glorious, beautiful life. So that is it. The Yoruba man who wrote you is right, but this only happens in the USA and it barely happens when it does. It used to come back. Let me read that again. I'm not sure I understand you. The Yoruba man who wrote you is right, but this only happens in the USA and it barely happens. When it does, it is used as a comeback. When you understand. Yeah, he actually said that too. When African Americans start the drama back in in school days. Okay. So yeah, that's what he also said in his context, that actually the word didn't mean anything. It's just a normal word in Yoruba. But when African Americans got to know the meaning of Akata and felt like it was a slur at them, they also had their own, comeback that they used, which was African booty scratcher, something like. So I often hear some say something fresh off the boat, all that kind of thing. So Africans find that offensive too. So as a comeback, they will use the word Akata because now as African Americans, you feel offended when you hear the word Akata, and that's you know the whole context behind it being seen as a slur by African Americans. But the word in itself is harmless. Emmanuel says I should visit Rwanda again. Says I'm now working with Africa Tourism Gate tour company. Oh, interesting. Emmanuel, I remember the day we met, you said you were working at the Ellen DeGeneres something something center. There's an Ellen DeGeneres center in Rwanda. I think a chimpanzee something or gorilla something like that. So you no longer work there. Okay, so for those of you who will be interested in visiting Rwanda, Emmanuel, I can trust you. You know that Rwanda does not speak, Rwandans speak Kinyarwanda. That is a language spoken in Rwanda, Kinyarwanda. So when you go there, the majority of them speak Kinyarwanda. If you're an English speaking person, you might, need to find someone that speaks English to help show you around, take you around. Emmanuel speaks English. So if you ever visit Rwanda and you use his tour company, he says he works with African Tourism Gate, a tour company, now you'll be in safe hands. I can attest because I've experienced Emmanuel. I met him. He's a very gentleman, very kind. That day I remember I got to Musanze at night. I had to wait at the park for the the person from Frama Adventures, the Echo Lodge where I was going to stay. I had to wait for them to come pick me up. So he waited for me to make sure that I was picked up, safely before he left. He's a very nice gentleman. So yeah, you should link up with him now. Yu Akata. Yu Akata says, this is a topic for me. Exactly, it is. And your name is Akata. Why? It's interesting. Why are you bearing Akata? Uh, you are one of the very consistent persons on this channel, and I really do appreciate you. You are always here, even when it's like you are the one who has really stayed here. You, Ian, Prince Chinwuba, and so many other people who have stayed, and I really do appreciate you. And I'm always like really intrigued about your person. I would really love to know a bit more about you. And given that we are discussing the Akata topic today and you're bearing you Akata, would you do us the honor of joining us to have this conversation? Probably you might not want to be on video, you can just join via audio. Tell us about yourself and a bit about this topic from the African American perspective. I don't know if you're an African American or you are an African. Would you do us that honor today? of letting me also know more about you. I came just in time. Exactly, you did. Welcome. So as you come in, give the stream a thumb up, share, subscribe if you're coming by for the first time, and yeah, all those good stuff. I've just dropped the link again. If you're interested in joining, click on it. I'm going to add you to the conversation. Detroit is peaceful city in America for Africans. It's changing. You will hear African body scratcher in Chicago or California, not Detroit. Interesting. Okay. Um, I'm typing. Give me a second. Yeah. So Armageddon, where did you catch up on? Where did you catch up on? I've given the context and the background to this word Akata from the perspective of a Yoruba person who belongs to the ethnic group where the word Akata originates from. And I said that because oftentimes the conversation is that Nigerians call African Americans Akata, and I said no, not all Nigerians. There's a over millions of Nigerians who do not even know that the word Akata exists. And I said that because we are over 200 million people in Nigeria. Um, Different cultures, different ethnic groups, over 200 ethnic groups, okay, languages and all. So personally, I'm Tif. We have Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Efik, Ibibio, Angas, um, um, Edo, that is Benin people, Esako, Ishan, Igbo, different ones. Yeah, Armageddon is here.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Good to have you. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Okay,
clearly.
okay. Yes. Well, I had just came. I was in your chat yesterday, and I
Mm-hmm.
asked the same thing. I said, I mentioned about that word Akata, and I've never been called that myself, but I've heard that word before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here in the United States. I'm from here,
Okay.
and
Okay. So, when you hear the word, do you find it offensive?
well, I don't really know the meaning of it, and I haven't really looked into it, but I've heard that word being used before. And when I saw Yu Akata name, it brought back a memory. I said, man, I heard that word before, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I heard it being used I think, as a derogatory word for us African Americans.
Okay. So that's pretty much what you know about the word, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you were the one who made the suggestion yesterday to do the stream, and I'm happy that you got to join. Even though we've come such a long way into the stream, over 30 minutes into the conversation. And when I began, I was giving just context about Nigeria as a country being very diverse with over 200 million people and over 250 ethnic groups. That means tribes, cultures, languages, and all of that. So when you hear the word Akata used, it's mostly by Yoruba people, Yoruba being one of the ethnic groups in Nigeria.
Mm.
And the word is from Yoruba, which means an undomesticated cat or a cat that lives, a wild cat. We have
Oh,
cats that live at home, and then we have wild cats. So that is the meaning of the word in Yoruba, an undomesticated or wild cat. Okay.
okay.
So yesterday, someone who is a Yoruba person who also lives in the US gave us context. He said he wasn't going to be available for the stream today, but he gave a long context on the stream we had yesterday. This was the comment he made. Um, like, you see, and he gave us context, and the context was that The word is not derogatory, but during the 1950s thereabouts, during the black civil movement of empowerment, where you had like the Black Panther and all of that, it was common to hear people make expressions such as, "Oh, you think you're a cool cat," making reference to the panther, right?
Yes.
So over time, people got wind of the meaning of the word, right? Akata, Akata meaning a wild cat or undomesticated cat. So African Americans felt like that was a slur, you know, targeted
Yeah.
at them, given the
Okay.
historical context of how African Americans were taken from the shores of Africa, and all of that. So that was the context. Or I know because of loss in translation, when you say panther and you need to explain it to a Yoruba person in a way they understand, they would say akata, a wild cat, undomesticated cat. So over time, when you say to an African American, in street slang, as the case may be in that time, based on the context he has given us, "Oh, you think you're a cool cat," something like that. I know it's an expression that I've also heard in the English language and all. People began to think it was a slur, meaning that they were being referred to. No, we don't do that. We
Huh?
don't do that on camera, okay?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Because YouTube is going to flag it and I'll be in trouble.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so based on that, African Americans felt offended, and then they also had the Buddhist scratcher, fresh off the boat slurs that they were using as comeback at Africans, continental Africans who were there. And the fought and back has been on for this long. So that's the context of the word. But the word originally means a wild or undomesticated cat in the Yoruba language. So when you hear it used, it's just a word. Like you have food as a word in English
Right.
language, you have sleep as a word in English language. Okay.
Right.
And for me, if you generalize it, it's unfair because I personally got to know about the word about 3 years ago when I became active on YouTube and started coming in contact with African Americans, and it was often brought up in conversations like this, and I was like, I don't know what that means. I've never heard that word before. When I first said it, it was as though I was lying, but no, that was my truth because I'm not Yoruba. I'm Tiv. That word is
You're
not in my
what?
language. I'm Tiv.
You
I'm from the Tiv ethnic group.
um
So
peace.
my language is different from the Yoruba
Right. Right.
language.
Right. Right.
Okay. So again, going back to the diversity of Nigeria. So if you
Hmm.
say all Nigerians call us Akata, or you'll be wrong because not all Nigerians even know that the word Akata exists. And
Right.
even for
Right.
the Yorubas, they say
I,
this is the meaning of the word. Yeah.
I do know a little bit about Nigeria. I used to study the Biafra War, Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
I studied a little bit about that, and and I'm also on Facebook, and I'm in a Igbo group over there, and I study a little bit about Nigeria. I think Nigeria is a very interesting place, and I've always wanted to come visit actually on one of these days, if possible. Um, I've met quite a few people from there in person. I went to school with a few people from Nigeria, and it seems very interesting. Like I said, it seems like a very interesting place.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
It
of them
is.
thought I was Nigerian until I
You look
spoke.
like, in fact, you look like a Yoruba person. You
Yeah,
would pass for a Yoruba person.
they always thought I was Igbo, but and then I spoke, then they were like, oh no, But yes, I was also in the military for seven
Okay.
years. I was in the military
Mm-hmm.
for 7 years, and actually served with some Nigerian. There was some Nigerians in the military with me. You know, so you know, I got to befriend quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, tell me this though. What part of Nigeria are you actually at? Like are you in the central part or southern Nigeria?
I can hear you. I'm trying to reconnect my internet. Go on. Go on.
Okay, okay. Are you in central Nigeria?
I'm in Lagos.
Lagos? Okay, okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
live in Lagos.
okay, okay. I, yeah, I wonder what those cities are like over there. You know, are those cities like anything they show on television? God, like I said, I never actually been, but I really would like to come visit. You know,
You should come visit, and you're going to see. The truth is that the Western media always,
portray the
twist the
worst.
narratives. They, they,
Yeah.
they, they always twist the narratives when it comes to Africa, to portray
Hmm.
Africa as this deplorable and helpless continent and all of that. But yeah, the good thing is that with social media, a lot of that is changing. A lot of African Americans, or or people of African descent who have never been to Africa prior to the social media thing, would say they never thought that this place existed in Africa because of the images you always got shown on the media in the West. So it's totally understandable until people visit places like Nigeria, Rwanda, Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, Namibia, Botswana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, Liberia, and then you get to see that, oh, okay, this is Africa.
Yeah.
People live in places like this and all. So yeah, we encourage people to visit. And someone just made a comment here saying, how many tribes are in Africa, and is it a mistake to think Black Americans should get along when they have the blood of possibly many tribes from the transcontinental slave trade? I mean, there are probably thousands and thousands of tribes and languages in Africa. In Nigeria alone, we have over 250 ethnic groups and over 500 languages in Nigeria alone. In Cameroon, I know that there are um about 200 ethnic groups or languages, if I'm not mistaken. Cameroon is also that diverse. Nigeria is that diverse. Ghana has about 80 something languages, ethnic groups. Uganda has about 40 something languages or ethnic group. Ethiopia has about 80 something. So Emmanuel, how many do you have in Rwanda languages? Okay, Rwanda is quite unique. Rwanda, they speak in Rwanda. Okay, so Kenya also has a lot. So it's a lot of languages and ethnic groups and cultural diversity on the continent. Okay. But yeah, to answer the second part of your question, it is not a mistake. Sorry, send a request again. Let me drop the link. I don't know why you went off, but I've dropped the link. You can click on it. I'll add you back. So it's not a mistake to think Black Americans should get along, because like you also said in the comments, you possibly have the bloods of different parts of Africa in you because of the transcontinental slave trade that happened. So it's not out of place. In fact, we encourage that if you are able to if you are able to, we encourage that you visit Africa, come see for yourself what the continent is like, and where you possibly, have some of your ancestry rooted. You know, a lot of you have been coming, African Americans coming to Ghana, especially the west coast of Africa, where a lot of the enslaved were taken from. So it's yeah, Emmanuel says we are now using English, Kinyarwanda, Kiswahili, and French. So you see, um, in Rwanda alone, you have two indigenous African languages, Kinyarwanda and Kiswahili, and then English and French being European languages. Yeah. So it's not out of place. Like I was saying, if it's possible and you can afford to, we encourage that you come visit, see for yourself, and just get to see where you possibly have some of your ancestry rooted, and that also helps you to find that bond and that reconnection you know and that helped us to get along better, and fosters understanding, so we don't have to fight over slurs like akata or booty scratcher and all of that. When I heard it, I'm not going to make light of it because it's offensive to people, so I won't make light of it. And that's why I decided to sit down and make this video today, this stream, so that I can share as much that I know about this topic as possible. Because it seems like you keep asking, and when I say you, I mean African Americans. You keep asking, but there's been no definite conversation around it, to explain better the context and origin of this word. So yeah, do you see Africa as one continent and one land, and these countries mean nothing? Also, do you think Africa should unite? To start from the bottom, yes, Africa should unite. I think so. Africa should unite because in our unity lies our development. I always say this. When I started traveling across Africa, I kept saying that, isn't it ironic that and interesting that whenever I travel to other parts of Africa, I find very interesting cultural intersections between what I'm familiar with being Nigeria and what I observe in the country I visit. For instance, I see a lot of similarities, a lot of cultural intersections that again prove the fact that we are similar. We might not be exactly the same, but we are similar. And I see a lot of the things that unite us are a lot more than the things that divide us. So I strongly believe that we should unite as Africa, and in our unity, lies our development. We are only going to move forward. Because when you look at the challenges of Africa, the things that have bedeviled Africa, you have things like political unrest, religious, divisions, tribal sentiments, and all of those things along those lines that really should not be a big deal. Um, we should unite more than allow ourselves to be divided. We don't find these things happen often in other parts of the world, like things like religious differences and cultural differences, political differences. Even when people disagree, they disagree in a civil manner, in a responsible and respectful manner that helps to foster productive dialogue on ways forward. But the reverse is always the case for Africa. When we disagree as Africans, it's always extreme. And I'm like, why? And over time, the powers that be have weaponized some of these little nuances and used them to deepen the divides that we have on the continent, and that has done us a lot of disservice. Oftentimes these few powers that be benefit more from this division, and for them to keep profiting off of this division, they have to keep us divided. And that's why we are like, let's unite. Let's unite and move our continent forward. um how many generations do you know about your specific bloodline? I stop at my paternal great grandfather. Oh, interesting. I know quite. I think I know back to 6 or 7. I think I know up to back to 6 or 7 on my paternal side. About, how many have I counted? 8, right? I know up to 8, like the names, the generation, and all. So that's how much I know. I might not have known them like physically, but that is how much my father told me about our lineage from him all the way down. So I can name them down to 7, down to 7. Yeah, and I can trace it to my village where I belong. Yeah. High power options. Hope that answers your question. Emmanuel says, well said, Grace. Africa is one land and united. Yeah, we are very similar. Like, you go everywhere and I'm like, I feel just at home as I would feel at home in Nigeria. Even in our cultural practices, there might be slight variations, but you see that basic underlying principle of Africa, especially the Ubuntu. The philosophy that says I am because you are is an African philosophy, and it cuts across every every single African society that you can think about. Thank you for this stream. It is very insightful. My pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I was able to, share these insights on this topic, and to help drive this conversation. Hope a lot more people are going to see this video and get to understand, clearer what this whole Akata term means, and the fact that it is not originally a slur, and over time probably losing the meaning in translation has led to the word being perceived as a slur targeted at African Americans. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream and having to spend this time with me. I really do appreciate every single one of you. This is 37 seconds. I don't want it to be so long so that other people can come and watch. Oftentimes when people see that a stream is up to like an hour plus, they do not want to rewatch. So I'm going to end it here. Good sister, peace and love. Thank you so much, you Akata. I appreciate your contribution. I read your comments and I respect that. Whenever you are ready, we are here, okay, to have the conversation and get to know more about you and all. And I really do appreciate. Are you 100% Nigerian or mixed with something else? You look Ghanaian. No, I'm 100% Nigerian. 100%. 100% Nigerian. I'm not mixed. Both of my parents are Nigerian, are Tiv, and are from the same local government. Like my parents refused to go outside. They stayed within. Like they really stayed within. Like from the same culture, the same ethnic group. We are all Tiv people. My mom is Tiv, my dad is Tiv, from the same local government, Kwande local government. Yeah, so I'm not mixed. That I know 100%. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you all so much. I'm going to end the stream here. Do you guys want us to do another stream tomorrow? Before I go, let me know. Do you guys want us to do another stream tomorrow? Let me know. And what would you like us to talk about? Drop a comment, let me know, and I'm going to prepare and do that stream. We are like 14 people on the stream, so let me know if you guys want us to do another stream tomorrow. Tomorrow is actually the last day of July. Interesting. So we can do a stream if you guys are up for it, and what you would like us to talk about. Climate change. Okay, climate change in what context, and what do you want to know about climate change? Because here we talk about Africa, we talk African centered conversations that affect Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora. So what time is it here? This is 7:53 p.m. Nigerian time. So I started at 7 o'clock. It's almost an hour we've been on. I always try to limit it to 1 hour so that other people can Tinubu grade. Someone is saying Tinubu grade. I'll be here. Okay. At what time? It's usually 7 p.m. I start at 7 p.m. So we do 7 to 8 p.m. So tomorrow, actually, there's been a planned protest that is supposed to happen tomorrow in Nigeria. So I don't know how that is going to be, but I'll probably get, when we do a live stream, that might also feature. And it's a big deal in Nigeria here. A lot of things have happened, are going on, and Nigerians are disgruntled. They feel like things should be done differently. So they are calling for an end to bad governance. That is the agenda for the protest tomorrow. Even though we've heard, in the media threats of counter violence, even though the organizers are saying the protest is going to be peaceful, but the government is saying no, the people are trying to cause chaos and bring anarchy and all of that. So I just hope it goes really peacefully tomorrow and there's no violence and all. Let's be peaceful as citizens, okay? Please talk about how Benin is giving citizenship to the diaspora. I find it interesting as a Cameroonian. It's a good thing, but I hear no one talking about it. Okay, I'm going to research that. I'm not sure about that. Do you mean Benin Republic or Benin as a state in Nigeria? Because we have Benin as a state in Nigeria. Are you talking about that, or you're talking about Benin Republic, our neighbor? Let me know. Telling us about your travel experience. I've shared that several times on this channel, my travel experiences. I've shared several. Okay, it says Benin Republic. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of research about that and see where we go from there tomorrow. So let me ask, if governance improves in Nigeria, is it possible most beaches this person is really interested in these Lagos beaches. Is it possible most beaches in Lagos will become free and public? Really, I don't know. I don't know. And this is really interesting because when you go to other places, beaches are free, really. I've been to Ghana. No, Ghana as well. I went to Labadi Beach. I had to pay to enter. So and that was my first time in Ghana. First attempt at going to the beach, Labadi Beach in the Osu side, and we had to pay to enter the beach too. So I don't know if other beaches in Ghana are free, but that one I can't say in Ghana beaches are free too, based on that experience. Except a Ghanaian proves otherwise. Um, I've been to I've been to Sierra Leone. Yeah, Sierra Leone has a lot of beautiful beaches, free. No one charged anything. I enjoyed, no, paid. I paid to get to Mama Beach. I think it's called Mama Beach. Mama Beach. Yeah, I paid as well to enter Mama Beach in Sierra Leone. But the Lomle Beach in Sierra Leone is free. That one is free. You don't pay anything. Liberia, I didn't go to the beach in Liberia. Where else? Ethiopia does not have a beach. Cameroon, Limbe Beach. I went to Cameroon. I was at Limbe. The beach is free. I didn't pay anything to experience the beach. I'm just trying to, call to mind the countries I've been to and if their beaches were free or not. Yeah, but in Nigeria, it's an interesting thing here that if you want to go to the beach, you have to pay to enter. And that's like a conversation for another day. If you guys want us to talk about that on the live stream, I can do it, or I can just make a video about it. I guess I can just make a video about that and talk about it. We don't need to do a live stream about that. I can just make a video and talk about it. Plastic pollution and weather warming. Okay, this is a person that talked about global warming. Someone else is saying, how do they treat women there? Nice, they treat us very nicely. That's interesting question. I think there's a general conversation in the media everywhere that Nigerian men are the best. Like, Nigerian men treat women very well, and that's the fact. Nigerian men, let's give it to Nigerian men. They do the most for their women, to be honest. Are there really racist Chinese people in Nigeria? Maybe not really loudly, but we've had a few incidents in Nigeria involving Chinese and some discriminatory acts against Nigerians. So yeah, Nigeria is the country where when you come, you see a lot of black people. Like, when you go out, you see all you see is black people, black people, black people. Maybe in 1,000 Nigerians, you might not even see a white person or a Caucasian, or all of those people. And I'm not saying by that we do not have them here. They are, but just a few. They make a very small percentage of the Nigerian population, and majority of them are foreigners living in Nigeria. They are not Nigerians. You get me? They're like foreigners who live in Nigeria, work in Nigeria, or do business in Nigeria. So the majority of Nigerians, we are black people. So even, yeah, we have Chinese people who are in Nigeria doing business and all, but you can actually probably count. There are not many. Very, 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 very few. He says, I wish it was like that here. We are trying to get them out of nah, they're on our capitals. Okay. I think it's it's interesting because sometimes when I actually also look at Nigeria, I see like, oh, Nigeria, we are really black, black, black. Like, why? But it goes back to our colonial experience and all of that. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, we don't have white people here who are like Nigerians, who say they are Nigerians. And I'm not saying we do not have white people who are Nigerians. Get me right. We probably have, but they are very, 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 very few. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So tomorrow we do a stream. And what are we talking about? Benin Republic giving citizenship. Okay, I'm going to try and research that and see we can talk about that tomorrow. Okay. Thank you guys for joining me. Take care, stay safe, healthy, below abiding. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm the African storyteller. Bye. Mwah.